What brought officers to the scene in the first place?
And police report shows that happened after he was accused of pushing an employee in the restaurant.
Shown other employees some fresh injuries on her neck, and Jackson Mahomes was charged months later.
The first time I heard about this situation, I thought that Jackson was gonna get arrested, get a slap on the wrist, and get released on bail, and it was gonna be swept under the rug and we would never hear about it again. Boy, was I wrong, because the details came out today, and it is way, way worse than you or I would think. I mean, this is gonna be very uncomfortable, and our last Jackson Mahomes video got demonetized, and we didn't even show the surveillance footage in that one. But you guys subscribe to this channel for a reason, and it is part of my duty to keep you guys updated. So before we get to the content, we are on the grind to 700,000 subscribers, and when we get there, we're gonna be giving away $500 to 5 subscribers that turn on our notifications on this channel. In addition, if you want to go the extra mile to support me on this video, it's not expected. There's a channel memberships program and a Patreon you can check out in the description. Now that we get all that out of the way, break! Can I be honest for a second? The one thing that changed sports for me forever is Prize Picks. Just having a little extra action on the game has made watching games so much more enjoyable, and I've actually been using this to get into other sports as well. A lot of you have DM'd me the amount of money that you guys are making off of Prize Picks, and I post my picks onto my Instagram story every single day. And right now, if you use my promo code microphone, they'll match your first deposit up to $100. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? It's very important for me to show you Jackson Mahomes' TikTok bio before we even start. This is actually something I tweeted out on my Twitter page because I think it's important to highlight when individuals are playing victim. Jackson Mahomes famously has in his TikTok bio, which is where he's amassed his social media following, "Sup, I get bullied a lot, but I'm still here." Now I want you to remember that, because in the beginning of the 2021 season, Jackson Mahomes was caught dumping water on the head of a Baltimore Ravens fan.
I'm so sorry for it. I'm so sorry for it. Oh, yeah.
This would result in Patrick Mahomes actually being questioned about his brother.
Obviously, it's something that we don't want to necessarily do. There was things said to him and Brittany that you don't see kind of on the clip. But I mean, he's been good at it, at not trying to respond to that stuff. He takes a lot, and he's usually pretty good at it, and he'll learn from it, and just try to stay away from those people as best he can.
Originally, Jackson was known for being Patrick's eccentric brother that did silly little TikTok dances in an attempt to siphon clout off of his big bro. He decided to quit playing basketball, which he was very talented athletically, so he could mooch off of his big brother, which respectfully, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you want to do that, and at the very minimum, try to make your brother's life easier. You studied marketing, maybe try to learn how to manage the Patrick Mahomes brand a little bit, and that's one thing. But doing anything you possibly can to get views on your TikTok page and not knowing any boundaries whatsoever is a little cringy. But you have to also understand, that's not a reason to dislike someone. I mean, yeah, it's annoying. Maybe Jackson has some growing up to do. Bear in mind, we were introduced to this young man when he was like 19 years old, so he still is trying to figure himself out. And we started to get an idea that Jackson Mahomes might truly be just an awful human being. I think he exemplifies selfishness, self-righteousness, and probably my favorite quality that I'm going to highlight in this video, being a huge hypocrite. Because again, in his bio, he says, "Sup, I get bullied a lot, but I'm still here." Yet he's dumping water on a Baltimore Ravens fan, and then a few weeks later, he does something that I, as a football fan, and every football fan that's been watching football for at least 15 years, and you don't even need to watch football for 15 years to feel this way. Jackson Mahomes danced on the memorial of Sean Taylor. And of course, he said this was an accident, but to give you an idea of who Sean Taylor is, this is a human being who got gunned down in his own home as he was truly starting to figure out his life, and even before he entered his prime with the Washington Redskins. He had a lot of good football left to play, and we never got to see it. More tragic tragically, his family lost him. And to be so full of yourself and so oblivious as to what's going on around you, because you're so desperate and thirsty for TikTok clout, is quite literally the very definition of a narcissist. Now, just because he's a narcissist doesn't mean that he is a predator. It doesn't mean that he's a dangerous person to be around. It just means he's full of himself and very unpleasant to be around. I mean, I live in Los Angeles. We have a ton of them here. But he claimed that he made a mistake. He tweeted out an apology. And to be honest, although it's a huge low, and although it made me dislike him, it's still not a reason to look at him and say you're a truly horrific human being. Because I do believe people make mistakes. I've made plenty of mistakes, and I do believe in giving second chances. So hopefully he doesn't do something like that again. Well, a few weeks later, Jackson Mahomes attempted to cancel a Kansas City bar because they weren't serving him quick enough. No, seriously, look at this. Question, Kansas City fiends. Who has been to SOT? The service is absolutely terrible, and the bartenders are so rude, I would not recommend at SOTKC. To try to cancel a small business because they didn't serve him quick enough is absurd. I mean, nothing shows you how petulant and spoiled this young man is than him stamping his feet and attempting to cancel a bar because they're not serving him quick enough. You definitely know that he went up to the bartender and said,
"Hey, do you know who I am? I'm Patrick Mahomes' brother. Do you know how many followers I have on TikTok? I could end this establishment right now."
The bar would clap back, and the clap back was epic. It's time we have a talk. Today we are experiencing a lot of activity over social media regarding a recent visit paid to us by an unhappy guest. This person happens to have a lot of followers on social media, and therefore it is something that we cannot ignore. Voice, reach, and influence are power. In our case, and with many businesses that are locally owned, the power of a few social media personalities can make or break that business. This grants these people this certain power to affect our livelihoods. There are those who have built their influence by being responsible, informed, positive, and sincere. I'm just messing around. And then there are those that have built their followings by being the opposite. That being said, we have some apologies to make. Dear Jackson Mahomes, we are sorry that we set boundaries that you tried to ignore. Oftentimes, people with unearned status and a sense of entitlement think that they are above the rules and will lash out at the employee enforcing them. The reason I'm bringing this up is this is something that's gonna come up later on in this video in the police affidavit that we secured, which is really important. So I want you to pay attention to that line in particular. Oftentimes, people with unearned status and a sense of entitlement think that they are above the rules and will lash out at the employee enforcing them. That line, remember that. We are sorry that you have the reach that you do, or at least think you do, and that instead of using it to do something positive, you decided to use it and try to crush a small business. We survived a global pandemic and will survive your ego. We are sorry you didn't reach out to us at first before taking to social media, but then again, that is an expectation we would have from a mature and rational person, not someone who pours water on fans and dances on the memorials of tragically lost people for TikTok clout. We have not been fortunate enough to be born into a much more talented and much more famous family, but we would like to think that if we did have that much luck, we would use our influence in more responsible ways. We hope our apology finds you well. The bar would eventually apologize for the apology, but that apology is enough for you to understand the type of person Jackson Mahomes is. And to be honest, at the very beginning, if there were a few isolated incidents, then I would forgive it. You know, I would say, hey, this is a young man. He's still trying to figure himself out. Let him do his thing. But it's the fact that all of these incidents are adding up to each other that consistently demonstrate the type of human being that Jackson Mahomes is. He's truly a horrible human being that acts entitled, spoiled, pompous, and plays the victim. That's his only defense. Now, to his credit, we didn't see him over the 2022 season. I guess Patrick had a sit down with him, Jackson, and Brittany, and you didn't really hear much from Jackson and Brittany until the Super Bowl, where you saw Jackson once again dancing in the background as Patrick was being interviewed during one of the biggest achievements of his career. But even that wasn't a big deal. I mean, yeah, he's doing a dance in the background, and it is what it is. He's just trying to siphon clout off of his brother from winning a Super Bowl. And look, he got a whole 6 million views on TikTok. Way to go, Jackson. And then things would get really bad. I mean, really bad. So bad that Brittany Matthews would actually, I mean, it looks like she is being cryptic here about the situation. We're going to get to that, but it looks like she might not even be on Jackson's side anymore. So of course, you know, Jackson Mahomes was arrested for an alleged sexual assault against a bar owner, and he was released on a $100,000 bail. At the time, we had Brittany Matthews, Patrick Mahomes' wife, who Jackson gets along with really well, coming to his aid, straight up defending him, which I actually thought was very strange at the time. But when Brittany was asked, how do you feel about the comments about your brother-in-law, she responded saying, they're ignorant. He is a human just trying to live his life and find his way, and until you walk a day in his shoes, which no one ever will, you have no right to say shit about him. So it's best just to shut up, which again, very strange look considering that the video of the incident was out at the time that this was posted. Now we got another update, and this update is insane. To give you an idea of how insane this update is, shortly after this came out, Brittany posted this onto her story. As you get older, you start to understand the difference between friends and associates, family and blood, business and work, love and lust, want and need, and most of all, what's important and what's not. Unfortunately, a lot of y'all met me when I lacked boundaries and was a people pleaser. Let me reintroduce myself. I burn bridges as needed. Now, this could also not be talking about Jackson. It could be a coincidence, but I think the timing's very interesting. So today, Johnson County District Judge Thomas Sunderland ordered the release of a redacted copy of a police affidavit, which states that Jackson grabbed Aspen Vaughn, the owner of the restaurant, by the throat, forcing her head back, and kissed her and put his tongue in her mouth 3 times without her consent, and then told her not to tell anyone, according to a separate report from the Kansas City Star. This is a lot, so buckle down. Trigger warning for people that are triggered by this type of stuff, but if you clicked on this video, you know what you're getting into. Vaughn, who is the owner of the Aspen's Restaurant and Lounge in Overland Park, initially accused Jackson of forcibly kissing me out of nowhere in a March interview with the Kansas City Star, provided surveillance video of the alleged assault to the outlet and the police. At the time, a 19-year-old waiter at the restaurant also accused Jackson of shoving him twice and backed Vaughn's claims. You remember the line that I was telling you about earlier from the SOTKC, the local Kansas City bar, that said that Jackson Mahomes has no respect for authority and thinks he is above the rules and will lash out at the employee enforcing them? Yeah, it seems like there's a theme here, allegedly. Now, Jackson's methodology of doing this is very sinister, because in the video, I didn't notice this. In the video, Jackson doesn't look like he's in a restaurant. It looks like he's in a place with desks and a fan and a bunch of lamps. It looks like he's in a dorm room. He's actually in an office. So this is what Jackson did in order to isolate the restaurant owner, and it's so predatory. In the redacted affidavit, Vaughn told police that Jackson told her that he needed to speak with her in the office located in the lower level of the restaurant, and that he closed the door once they were inside. So what I'm imagining is the main activity and everybody is in the main floor of the restaurant. You know, everybody's like eating there and whatnot. And then Vaughn has an isolated office downstairs, and Jackson said that he needed to speak with her in the office. He then grabbed her by the throat, forcing her head back, and kissed her and put his tongue in her mouth, the affidavit states, alleging that Jackson repeated the act 2 more times seconds apart. Vaughn told the police that she did not consent and that she pushed him away all 3 times. The alleged victim struggled with the defendant and pulled his hand off of her waist and pushed him away, the affidavit said. When Jackson left the office, Vaughn showed 2 servers, whom she claimed did not hear her when she called out for help, her neck, which had fresh signs of injury according to the affidavit. Both employees confirmed that account to the police. It gets even worse, because you would think Jackson would run away and try to avoid confrontation with this human being ever again. But no, he would return to the office trying to explain what he could do for her business. Bro, oh my God. This is why influencers and content creators have such a bad name. Oh my God. He straight up attempts to sexually assault this woman and then pulls up and says,
You know, I'm Jackson Mahomes. Do you know how many followers I have on TikTok? Do you know how much clout I got? I could blow this restaurant up.
Did you see my attempt to try to cancel that Kansas City bar earlier? It worked out wonderful. They went viral. Dude, that is insufferable. Could you just imagine this? I mean, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. He literally went to the woman, attempted to force himself on her, and then went back and said, hey, you know what I could do for your business? Now, Jackson was reportedly angry when he and his group of friends were eventually told to leave the restaurant. Yeah, come on, bro. Like, I think it's so, like, messed up that they're telling you to leave after you attempted to sexually assault the owner. Like, yeah, they're so out of line. You get bullied way too much, Jackson. I feel so bad for you. You're such a victim. Additionally, in the redacted affidavit, the waiter, who chose not to be identified, spoke with the police on the night of the incident, said he had gone to the office on the lower level of the restaurant to retrieve his water bottle. The waiter entered the code and was barely through the door when Jackson allegedly pushed his chest and told him not to come in, according to the affidavit, which states the waiter then told Jackson he was an employee and needed his water bottle. So this waiter and his water bottle quite literally saved the owner of the restaurant from something way worse. And then that's when Jackson pushed the waiter a second time and told him to get out. Jackson later attempted to apologize, but told the waiter that he should not have to tell him twice to leave a room, and that if he's in a room in the restaurant, it is off limits. Are you kidding me? Dude, so Jackson goes to this waiter and is like, yo, what the hell are you doing? Like, you're totally cock blocking me here. I'm trying to sexually assault the owner of the restaurant, and I shouldn't have to tell you twice to leave me alone with your boss so I could get it in.
If the girl said no, then the answer obviously is no.
No.
But the thing is she's not gonna say no. She would never say no because of the implication.
I feel so bad for Jackson's lawyer, bro, because this is what he said. Jackson has done nothing wrong. Our investigation has revealed substantial evidence refuting the claims of Jackson's accuser, including the statements of several witnesses. Bro, here's the thing. I know in the Matt Araiza situation, I told you guys I jumped the gun on that. This feels different to me, and this is why Jackson is in huge trouble. He's literally caught on video doing this. He's caught on video doing everything he's accused of. Caught in 4K, grabbing this woman by the neck. The woman is struggling to get away from him, sticking his tongue down her throat, marks on her neck. Like, everything that they're saying is caught on camera. This isn't a game of he said, she said. This isn't like Deshaun Watson, where we didn't have video evidence of what Deshaun Watson did, and that became a civil lawsuit. This isn't like Matt Araiza, where we didn't have video evidence. Well, we actually did have video evidence of that in terms of the woman not seeming very happy about the sexual activity that was taking place, but we have our own video on that. Here, you actually have a video of what Jackson is being accused of, and it is not looking good. I mean, these are all allegations. I don't think this is jumping the gun. At the end of the day, all you had to do was sit back and watch your brother be one of the greatest football players of all time. You didn't need to do anything. You don't need TikTok clout. You might get TikTok clout or Instagram clout just by association without seeking it. You probably would have gotten more if you didn't seek it out, to be honest. But you could just tell, man, this kid did not get enough attention growing up, and it's truly just impacting his behavior. He thinks he's above everyone else. He's forcing himself on people. I wouldn't be shocked if Jackson Mahomes goes to prison for a very long time, because he's caught on camera here. That's way different than just any type of allegations. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this, man. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.